More? Refill.
I met somebody else that remembered me.
What's that?
We get
Looked at
cartoons.
me and said I was interested.
I would love it, wouldn't you? Yeah, cartoons of Donnie Ball.
Yeah, I like Wile E. Coyote is my favorite.
Yeah.
I was saying that. If you stand up, you have to say your address, or Steve only spells the address.
There's your concrete here, right? That was weird.
That's the township manager's regular. Like, business manager.
Yeah.
They want to sit up front.
Okay, good evening, folks. I'd like to call this meeting to order for November 20th, 2019. Board of Supervisors, would you all please rise and join me for the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. The first thing on the agenda is public comments on agenda items. If you have any, would you please state your name and address? Okay, seeing none, I will move on. Announcements. Mr. Duval had to have emergency surgery on Friday morning. It was successful. He should be back out of the hospital by Friday and home. So that is why he is not here tonight. He will return for December meeting, hopefully. Okay, all right, we're not gonna go. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. Jim, do you have any issues or concerns regarding it?
No, I have no issues at all with the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion's been made. I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, moving forward, the next thing on the agenda is confirmed appointment. Darius. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that properly.
That's all right, no problem. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Darius and Teresa Kosinski from 313 Tower Road.
Yes.
And we spoke briefly on the last meeting without understanding the procedure and the 2-minute limitations, although it would be nice if someone directed us that 2 minutes each so we could have finished it like that. But,
Okay.
you know, now we learn. We don't want to go over this thing again. We just would like to find out what actually is the short-term rental regulation. What was proposed, and how come we need to put new regulations in order over here versus using the existing laws and regulations on the books? Well, I mean, that was my question.
Right now, there isn't anything proposed by the Board of Supervisors. The staff, hearing the complaints of some of the residents at a meeting, put together an ordinance the Planning Commission has reviewed. It has not been officially reviewed by the Board of Supervisors at this point, but basically what it did was it limited short-term rentals to zoning districts where more commercial enterprises were allowed, as opposed to allowing them in residential only districts.
I will share with you, from my perspective, I've had several complaints of activities going on up there. And from some people that live on share the same driveway as what you do. We also have, as you were informed last meeting, several police reports from issues that have gone on up there. So there has been a concern and a request from the citizens to do something about it. That's why we have asked the solicitor to put something together.
So do we know what was proposed? Is that?
I just tried to describe it to you as succinct.
Is there any paper, anything which can be written, looked
Well,
at?
the planning commission reviewed it, so it can be a public document. Didn't the planning commission review it?
Yes,
Yeah.
in the Bucks County Planning Commission.
Yeah, so it is a public document, but it has not gone to the board of supervisors at this point.
Okay.
That's correct.
Now, and, I mean, I read some of the police reports, well, no, I read all of them, which were, I have not received all of them yet from the police department. I put another right to know request over there, but I wasn't successful as of yet to get everything.
Okay.
So just to understand it, and I mean, there is, I understood there was a complaint about driving through parking on this thing,
Mhm.
which I think could be easily fixed by existing regulations. If someone is parking illegally, there are laws on the books right now, that's why we can adhere to that, and citations can be done and stuff like that, so that would be one thing. Second thing, I saw a complaint about the noise and fireworks during the New Year celebration. Well, yeah, that will happen from time to time, and over the 30 years we lived over there, there was many times noise and fireworks on Tower Road. We never bothered to call the police about it, just basically because it's New Year and you kind of think differently of it at that time.
Right.
So it's you know, we lived over there for so long, and I understand the township is putting regulations about the parking along the
Tower Road.
Mhm. Which baffles my mind because in all those years, we never had a traffic jam over there. And nobody ever parks on the side, or if it does, very rarely because of an emergency. So just personal opinion, that's a waste of time and money, putting signage, et cetera, because I don't know how many times the police was actually called over there to remove somebody because he's blocking a road. We did have that problem with Sandy when the trees went down and when the creek flew over, but never by cars. So just trying to kind of understand this procedure, I'm personally against any new regulations. I figure there is enough of them on the books that we can obey by them, issue citations, notify the proper people, and all that the regulation thing can be avoided. Now, when it comes to short-term rentals, they are designed to be by variable home away and Airbnb to be in residential area. Nobody wants to go to a commercial area to spend a weekend or spend a week. That's just defies the purpose. We use Airbnb all over the United States. That's pretty much, before we book a hotel, if we have to go somewhere, we actually look at Airbnb because it's more what that town is all about. So just wanted to find out more. Apparently, we're going to research where those papers are, what the planning commission actually put together, and hopefully we can fix it all out without putting new regulations on the book and putting new laws and struggling our, getting ourselves more tied up. 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then thank you for your concern, and you will be able to ask for a right to know to get a copy of that.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, moving forward, the next thing on the agenda is the Park and Rec report. Dave Rice.
How's everybody like?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Parks and Recs, nothing better. Alright, maybe. It's all good. Just a couple updates on Park and Rec. Park and Rec across the street, tot lot is finished. 2019, we finally got the tot lot full. The two last items were actually installed in October by the township guys. We have the sidewalk and the twister now, so now the tot lot is full and complete, so huge success Park and Rec Committee. Another update, we're fortunate to have 66 names that we're gonna be able to add on the Veterans Memorial plaque that we were able to receive. So that's huge. I think it's almost a full plaque. As far as names and everything like that. We originally had a quote from a company that was around $4,600. Had a little bit of rework, had some bids put back out, some research. Fred and Maggie, all those worked, together, so we get some more quotes out. We actually got one down where it's right around $2,500, or right around that price, so we were able to get a better price. Hopefully it's gonna be the same, actually, once we, approve it, get it all approved for the township guys to install. Same plaque that's existing, that's gonna be just like, the existing ones that are there, so, I appreciate all the work that was done from Maggie, Fred, Alan, Charlie, all those guys, and the Park and Rec Committee who are actually making this come to fruition. If we can get the approval once we get the final, the final plans for the plaque to be implemented, I guess we'll come back for approvals for the installation by the township guys.
Yes, and does Greg have a copy of what the total cost would be?
Yes.
Because we possibly may have some concern, or some help from some businesses in the township that would like to help out.
Okay.
Possibly, so, as long as he has that,
That'd be awesome. Yeah, Greg's copy on
Thank you.
on all the emails, so.
okay,
And that should be all for tonight, so I appreciate your time.
very good. Okay, Jim, you have any questions for?
I one question for you. I was reading the minutes, and there was something right at the end of the minutes about looking over the rules and regulations for renting the park to nonprofits.
You know what, I personally wasn't at the meeting, so I,
Yeah, we were just questioning the rules involved of renting the pavilions over there.
Okay.
And it's something that the Park and Rec really had never even considered before, because the Historical Society wants to rent the park, not rent the park, but use the park for an event over there.
Right.
So we were like, well, if they can use it, the Boy Scouts could come in and use it. We're just trying to weigh it out to see what's the right avenue to go for the different functions in West Rockhill. Because the Park and Rec, we don't have any money either, so
Right.
it's hard to,
One of the things that was discussed, and I'll share what I listened to, because I sat in on the meeting, was, for normal, weekends in the summer, there are people that rent the pavilions, the same, they rent for, family reunion or whatever.
Weddings and.
So we were concerned that somebody may say, well, wait a minute, did they pay for the rental or the fee for the, pavilion for this certain weekend?
And yes, the Historical Society did pay.
Absolutely, but they didn't know that when they were discussing this, okay? So that's why this is in the minutes, because it was discussed on what the procedure is, how do we normally proceed with
yeah,
it.
we wanted to make sure that the date was blocked,
Yeah.
if they filled out the paperwork. That was our concern.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanna make sure then that it's equal and fair for everybody that's coming in. If we can have certain things we do for nonprofits, or we can have certain things we do for families or whatever that come in. I just wanna make sure it's the same for everyone.
Exactly, we don't have anything in place at this point.
Okay,
That's why we were discussing, gee, should we put something in place before something comes out?
so I will wait and see what you guys come up with next month.
The only thing that's in place is resident versus non-resident.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's in place.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the one thing I know that had to be done was they had to check the Little League schedule
Oh, yeah.
yes.
to confirm that there wasn't two games going, because if there's two games going on that day, they would not have
Yeah,
parking.
yeah.
So that was the thing that was,
Okay,
that
all right.
they-
I'll wait and see what you guys come up with.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yep, all right, motion's been made, I'll second it, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, next on here is the Joint Rec Authority, Mr. Miller.
Joint Rec Authority, I'm very happy to announce that on the November 11th at the Sellersville Borough Council meeting, the Joint Rec Authority was presented a check with $11,840. There we are receiving a check. And this was to purchase a new zip line for the Holiday House pool. We had this on our wish list since last summer when our pool manager Karen Dace came up with the idea, but of course, nothing we could afford. And we did have a local company, Terra Vita Holistic Center in Sellersville, came up and presented us with the check, and they also presented a check to Sellersville for $2,500 to do repairs on their Christmas decorations. So in addition to that, I did bring along a little video so you could see what it looked like, if Sherry has that. While she's doing that, I'll tell you that Terra Vita Holistic Services is a woman-run organization located in Sellersville. They opened in February of 2018, and they also have additional centers in Abington and Malvern. This is the, here we
Zip
go.
line.
The zip line, yeah. Okay. They provide services to people with conditions such as autism, ALS, Crohn's disease, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease. The list goes on. There's 23 different symptoms that would allow you to go in and get their services. So we are extremely happy that they chose us to give back to the community. So you'll be seeing this will be installed in the spring. The check was to purchase the equipment, have it delivered, and have it installed. So they pay for the whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
just one quick question.
Yeah.
No issue with insurance?
No,
Orange one's
not at
fair?
all. No, because we've already got similar things there, like the sliding board and the rock wall.
Rock
This
wall.
was the same company, I think, that made the rock wall.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, aside from that, the only other outstanding thing we had was the $2,000 that you guys were looking into.
Right, and it was explained to me that this is an advancement, part of the advancement.
It can be,
Yeah, I'm not supporting increasing the contribution because my view is the pool is supposed to be running on its own, not by the two municipalities. The list that you gave us of itemized things, there are several things in there that I think could be cut. $7,500 for grass mowing, and then the cost of what the manager's salaries are could be looked at. I'm not saying that you can eliminate them. I'm just saying those are some things that I saw that might be able to be reduced.
okay.
Okay? And grass, $7,500 to mow grass is a lot of money, in my opinion.
Well, first of all, it's a very wet year, but, and I understand that. We use the contract that Sellersville Borough has for their mowing, and he charges through the Sellersville Borough directly to us. So we're on their contract, so we get a better rate than we would have if we had just gone out by ourselves.
I would support giving the $2,000 in advancement off of our money that we have allocated for the Holiday House pool at this time, if that is acceptable to you.
Actually, I was hoping that we could do what Sellersville did and actually give the pool an additional $2,000. Now, next year, we could look at we will look at ways to reduce costs, plus we hope that our new zip line is going to help bring more people in, so I think we're in an impasse here right now.
Then we'll table it till December.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
That's all I had.
All right. I'll make a motion to accept the Joint Recs Authority report as presented.
I'll
Do you see
second.
the sides of their,
All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
it's like
Let's
that
have it.
big field.
Tax collector's report. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Just so you know, my paper does not have that on there. See that?
Let's have one.
I skipped over that.
That's fine.
All right,
I
please
know
report.
the feeling.
Sergeant Maloney, how are you?
I'm well, sir, how are you doing?
Good.
Good, thank you. The following information lists the monthly activities for the Pembridge Regional Police Department for the month of October 2019. Pembridge Regional Police Department responded to 596 calls for service. Of those calls, 277 were in East Rockhill, 319 in West Rockhill.
Wow.
The department handled 33 traffic crashes. There were 10 crashes in East Rockhill, 23 in West Rockhill. 21 were reportable crashes and 12 were non-reportable crashes. In regards to criminal activity, the Pembridge Regional Police officers responded to 6 Part 1 crimes and 37 Part 2 crimes in October, totaling 33 crimes. East Rockhill reported crimes. There were 2 theft cases, 4 cases of fraud, 2 cases of underage drinking, 3 cases of possession of marijuana, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 harassment, 2 terroristic threats, 1 trespass, 3 dog law violations, and 1 ordinance violation. In West Rockhill reported crimes, there was obviously the murder, up at the Homestead, campground. Burglary, forced, residence gay, there were 2 theft cases, 1 fraud, 2 cases of criminal mischief, 2 DUI cases, 2 cases of possession of heroin, 3 cases of public drunkenness, 2 cases of harassment, 2 cases of ordinance violations, and 5 cases of dog law violations. Criminal charges filed for October 2019, there was 1 homicide, obviously, 1 possession of heroin, 1 criminal mischief, 1 disorderly conduct, 3 public drunkenness, 2 possession of marijuana, 3 possession of drug paraphernalia, 2 possession of methamphetamine, 3 underage drinking, 1 littering, and 1 passing bad checks. Other police activities, officers conducted 241 traffic enforcement details and 33 traffic details specifically on Old Bethlehem Pike. Officers issued 22 verbal traffic warnings, 52 citations, and 54 written warnings. They also conducted 264 business checks. The Upper Bucks Motor Carrier Safety Enforcement report, for the month of October, there were 14 inspections conducted, 20 violations, and 5 out of service violations. That's Officer DiGiovanni and his mix-up details. We also had a drug take-back event. 1 was at headquarters and 1 was over at Grandview Hospital. For the event on October 26th, there was 51.56 pounds delivered to the headquarters and 25.30 pounds delivered to Grandview Hospital. The drug take back from April to October, there was 91.68 pounds at headquarters and 71.73 pounds delivered to Grandview Hospital.
Nice.
And that concludes the report for October 2019.
Any questions, Jim?
No questions. I just want to say, I want to thank you guys. I was on vacation for a while and I came in and filled out the form and you guys came around and checked the house. I just want people to know that our police department does that service. If you're going to be away, they will come by and take a look at your place, make sure everything's okay and contact you if it isn't. So it's a very nice service to have here and we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion to approve the police report as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's been made, I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome, sir, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the tax collector's report.
Okay, for annual taxes for the month of November, collected $1,281.33. For 2019 interims, $288.71. All final notices were sent November 10th to all taxpayers in West Rockhill who had not satisfied their county and township tax bill. So hopefully they'll send in their payment to the end of the year.
Okay,
That's it.
all right. Any questions?
No, I'll make a motion to accept the taxpayer report.
Okay, I'll
Tax
second.
collector report.
Yep, I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye? Yep. Thank you, approved. Okay, next on the agenda is the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The one item I have on the agenda is the Teresco Properties Land Development Plan. We have the owner is here tonight. We need to just give them the board a brief overview of the plan.
Is your engineer?
No, my engineer is not here. I believe we have everything lined up with what we need. We don't need the engineer anymore. That's been a struggle. So what if you can lead me through it, let's.
Well, why don't you just give a summary of what you plan to do on the site so the board understands the project.
As we talked about it before, it's an existing concrete pad which we are right now using as an outside storage, which we would like to cover with a roof over it, so we have an inside storage. Of course, by simply doing that, we encroach into tremendous problems because all of a sudden the laws and regulations about how much parking space we need for not getting any more cars parked over there, they went 3 times for what's existing. It's a pre-existing property which has, in previous grounds, are already exceeding what's by today's regulations allowed. But since we are not creating any more impervious surfaces, the understanding was that we're going to be allowed to do what we are trying to do over there. I don't know what else would you like to know, but that's pretty
got the part where they were covering the slab, but I didn't get the parking part.
Oh, well, I think, in short, because there's more
Square footage
square
under
footage
roof.
under roof, there's now a larger parking space requirement for the site. So he's saying, you're not adding employees, correct? It's just for storage, so you don't have necessarily need for parking, but under the zoning ordinance, there's a requirement for parking. Now luckily, they had additional stone area in the back, which is part of the area where the slabs are outside and they're gonna go inside. So they have room for parking in the back if they make the spaces a little bit smaller than what our ordinance standard size is. And that's one of the waivers that they request, that the space size be allowed to be, a bit smaller, I think, 8.5 by 18. But you don't expect to really use those spaces because you have enough parking in the front
No.
for your everyday business.
No.
I have one concern regarding that. Full-size pickup truck with an extended cab, 4 doors, it's 21.5 feet, 22 feet. I'm not saying that you have those vehicles parked there. I'm only raising this question because I've seen this issue come up. And I'll point out the example, Grandview Hospital, okay? When you park, the old parking lot in the back of the hospital is very, very tight. So we tried to make a practice to make sure that the parking spaces moving forward are substantial for the vehicles that are driven today on the roads. You know, full-size van, something like that. You understand? I'm sure. I don't have an issue with the 8.5.
Yeah, over half of the spaces are the standard size spaces.
Okay.
And then there's one row of spaces that would be that slightly reduced size.
Okay.
And again, they're showing those spaces to meet the zoning requirement, not necessarily the parking demand.
And that's taken under consideration.
The rest, though I had, it should be in your packet, November 12th letter, there's several items I could run through them quickly. Number one is just an explanation again, the property's already non-conforming. with setbacks. You're not changing that non-conforming status. Number two is the whole discussion about the parking spaces.
Can I ask you something on that real quick before you go any further? If this gentleman ever sells that business and somebody else buys it, okay, and they need those parking spaces for something, will we have an opportunity to change it then? Or to make it come to the standards of today's standards?
I guess there would be, there would be a review of it with a zoning permit, but if he wasn't changing the building, no.
Okay. All right, move forward.
So number two had to do with the parking and a few other waiver items is, the landscaping and things, if they're not there now in the middle of the parking lot, it's just one paved area.
So you're recommending grant those waivers?
Yes, they're requested, and I don't object to it. Number three is a buffer yard question on the northern side of the property. That's the only property line that's against a residential property, and it happens to be a house that, this area is owned also. There is a hedgerow and a few trees along that property line, and the planning commission was satisfied that that was adequate buffer between the two properties.
Are you gonna have a note on the plan saying that that can't be removed?
We could do that. So you just saying, there's a note saying you wouldn't remove that screen.
But we can add it to this plan.
Number four is, similar to the property next door that we had in here recently, the whole frontage of the property is paved. The whole driveway entrance is paved, so, your normal curb and sidewalk improvements are taken up by the existing pavement. So he's asking for a waiver of the curb and sidewalk improvements across the front of the property. You also suggested that if you make a drainage improvement on the front, you'd like that to offset some of the costs.
Yeah, we received that, but there is a tremendous problem with the water runoff because it's being downhill and we pretty much, Matt's parking lot, every time it rains, comes to my parking lot, because he's in unsafe mine space, so my guys clean it up constantly. So Matt proposed to do, improvement of the drainage along the wet line, all the, and pretty much we would like to continue on our stuff, so we did receive a quote on this thing, it's about $6,300 to dig it out, fix it, put it properly, so the water doesn't go into the property and gets redirected along the pipe. So we would like to use the money from the sidewalk to actually fix the drainage.
So we're not gonna be asking for fee in lieu of money?
Well, we would need to get an estimate of what the sidewalk work would be, and
Okay.
then we'll compare it to the estimate for the drainage work, and if there's still some balance left,
And the drainage work is work that they'd be doing on their front.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's, you know, a
We
negative
did
amount,
write
you
letters
know,
to PennDOT and send them, try to contact them about poles over there and stuff, since technically it's PennDOT's property.
Mhm.
Well, it's been 4 years now.
So, does that mean they need to be an HOP?
they may depend on the extent. That's in my letter. If it's required, I'll have to get that. Number 5 is the standard park and rec donation. I think you've already submitted it to
Yeah.
the town.
Yes, that should
In
go.
lieu of dedication of land, they made a contribution per the fee schedule.
That's already been made then.
Yep. Number 6, similar with stormwater management, the whole, not the whole property, but the property has existing concrete paving and stone area, and they're not expanding that area. So they're asking for a waiver, but paying the exemption fee that's in the ordinance, and I think you
Yeah, the
provided
was
that check
paid,
also,
yeah.
that's already been paid to the town.
Okay.
Number 7, I guess I touched on before, that's the parking area landscaping, so they really can't put street trees in, and trees in that front parking lot, because it's an entire paved area, so that's a waiver request. And planning commission recommended approval of that waiver. Number 8, the property's on well and septic, and, the owner's aware that that is in the sewer service area, so should public sewer ever be extended to the area, and I think you already have an agreement with
Yeah, with the,
the
yeah,
sewer authority on
sewer
it.
authority. We tried it already for a couple of years to get it, they're not, didn't get anywhere yet.
We had there was one holdout, one property holdout or something that stopped that from going through here about 3 years ago, right?
Caught the back corner of the
Yeah,
property.
right, yeah.
Is
So
that a notable thing?
it's, hopefully it'll happen sometime in the near future.
Yeah, we could put that in note on the plan. So let's just have your engineer add a note saying that you've agreed to connect the public sewer when